So, welcome to CryptoG's episode 12. One second, I have.
Welcome to CryptoG's episode.
Right. Episode 12. So, I'm here from Abu Dhabi.
Join a company that you are the person that you sell, yeah?
Bringing good energy.
So,
Welcome to Crypto OGs. And I have my good friend Kyle Chasse. We have so many friends in common, but we never come across until a couple of weeks ago. Good friend Tim put and we decided, okay, let's do a podcast. I went straight to the podcast, guys. Before I introduce Kyle, he's a proper crypto G. We are a decade in crypto, so you have survived a couple of bear markets already, Kyle. But I will let yourself to introduce to everybody that's watching right now in Binance Live, who is Kyle.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Good to be here, and yeah, I'm glad that we finally connected. So my name is Kyle Chasse. I've been in crypto for almost 11 years now, and it's my absolute passion and obsession. And I've kind of always led my career, followed by what I was super passionate about, and then figured out kind of how to monetize it after that. So all the way back to pre-crypto days, growing up, I was kind of like just an entrepreneur trying to figure out kind of what businesses to do. And you dropped. You there?
No, Kyle, I'm here. I just giving you the solo stage.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, cool. I just figured it dropped. So I had a few different businesses that didn't work out in the early days, and then I had one where it was in regenerative medicine and anti-aging. I spent a long time, ever since the age of like 21 until like mid 20s, learning about longevity, regeneration, anti-aging, how to basically not die or live longer in a healthy state. And then I turned that into a business called Reverse Aging Institute. And that was going really well. And, but then at the same time, I was also learning when I started that, also learning about Bitcoin. And then I became so obsessed with Bitcoin that it just was taking all of my time and attention, and it's all I could really focus on. So then I ended up selling that company to a gentleman out of Abu Dhabi, and then I used that money to buy Bitcoin, and also exited like any fiat that I had at the time, which wasn't a lot, but the sale of the business was quite nice. Then I started building my first kind of time building anything from a technical perspective, and built the world's first Bitcoin lottery called World Super Lotto. That took a while to build. It was my first time, working with developers to build something, and that was it was really cool. It was a lot of fun. I replicated a model that's like very similar to state lotteries around the world, where people would buy a ticket and they would pick their numbers or automatically pick the numbers for them. And then we would do a drawing twice a week. And I actually bought one of these, these machines from China that has this the acrylic ball with all the balls that spin around in it. And I did this, and I ran these twice a week for I think like something like 70 or 80 drawings. And it was just a lot of fun. And I had kind of a community growing on Bitcoin Talk Forum. And then when I was at a conference in London, it was actually a gaming conference, since I was doing like gaming stuff, like not gaming like video gaming, but gaming like casino gaming. There was also this huge, massive conference like that took up many exhibitor halls. In one corner of that was an area dedicated to crypto, and so I was hanging out there, and I met this team at the time that had been working on a layer 1 blockchain that would do have a public chain, and then also offer like private chains as a service that could communicate with the public chain. And so I worked on that for a while as a startup. It didn't work out. The actual head architect and the founder, I don't know exactly what happened, but essentially just kind of disappeared from everything. I'm not sure what happened to that, but they were in Isle of Man, and so that didn't really work out. And then but also at the same time, I still have all these Bitcoin that I had from earlier in the day, and this is like 2015, and so I started investing into other things. I started diversifying. I was like 100% in Bitcoin. And then I started going to Ethereum, very early. I didn't do the ICO because I was skeptical of it at first. I was like a Bitcoin maxi, and I thought this was like a scam. So, it wasn't until later that I was selling some of my Bitcoin for someone who wanted the Bitcoin so that they can trade it then for Ethereum, because they were building an app and they needed Ethereum for gas and stuff. So he explained to me about what they're doing, and actually kind of enlightened me more about Ethereum. And so then I was convinced about Ethereum. Then I got Ethereum, and then also found ways to invest in a lot of the early infrastructure in the space. And so I'm a shareholder of, Kraken and Coinbase, Ripple, Securitize, Abra, Circle, Bitfinex, Bitstamp, and a lot of others. And so very, very early investor in a lot of the big players in the space from an infrastructure perspective. And, and then I've really been obsessed with adoption. It's like, what is it going to take for this really cool technology that, and really it's not even the technology, it's the really cool like ideology of decentralization and the way that the technology enables that, right? Of like systems that allow a more democratic and transparent process to happen, because there's so much corruption that happens around the world. I just felt like a lot of problems could be solved with blockchain, and really like the true blockchains, the ones that are decentralized and open and public and permissionless and things like that. So so I was networking and meeting people and meeting a lot of builders. And then in 2017, the space changed a lot. It actually ended up being full of people who just come into the space looking for money, right? Looking to make money. And like, so for the first time, you start seeing people coming to conferences in suits. And that was really strange, because before we were all in just like t-shirts and stuff like that. And also you started seeing a lot of people on stage that were being represented as experts, but they were new to the space, and they weren't, because they really didn't truly understand like token economics and how token works and how blockchain should work, really. So that was a problem for me, because I was really excited to start. Like, on one hand, you start to see like in 2017 really like adoption happening for crypto. People are actually talking on it. It's on the mainstream news, and that was like really exciting. On the other hand, you have a lot of the wrong narrative being portrayed, or people misrepresenting it. And I didn't like that at all. And so I felt like I could do my part in trying to help with that. And so with that being said, like I started doing a lot of conferences. I started speaking or being a moderator at different conferences around the world, so I can try to correct the record and help to educate people on blockchain and decentralization. And at the same time, as I was doing this, I started working with some projects as an advisor, so I could help them with connections that I had or knowledge that I had, but also learn from what they were doing and watch them try to go to market and see the successes or failures that they might have, and kind of learn from that as well. And that was really beneficial. And that also allowed me to build a really vast network. And then I launched Master Ventures because I needed more support from the advisory perspective, and constantly investing still this whole time. And Master Ventures initially was mostly advisory, incubation, and investments, and then today it has pivoted into a venture builder or venture studio, where we are focused on building products ourselves in-house. And I think the things that we are building are pretty revolutionary. And the reason that I think that is because, and the reason I feel confident saying that is because I have so much experience in the space over so much time, and I've talked to and I've worn the hat of many different operators in the space. I've been a retail user, I've been an institutional user, I've talked to everybody, and I also have a very good perspective overall of everything that's going on and kind of what needs to happen for adoption. And that gives me a lot of ability to kind of identify opportunities, and also like from an investment perspective, like identify things that aren't good as well. but yeah, that's basically about me. We're building some really cool things right now, and that's what I'm focused on.
Oh wow, Kyle! Like it's amazing to hear your story, and probably so many people that have been into the crypto for a couple of years, they think it's easy, right? They think that you just join and you just buy a couple of tokens and it just go up and then that's it. Then you enjoy the life. But you have achieved so much in crypto. You said you have wear so many hats. You've been a great leader, investor, educator, product developer, advisor, fundraiser. So where is all this drive come from? And is any wealth that how can you advise to somebody how to follow your path? Where is this driven come from?
Yeah, well, for me, the drive is like, it's interesting, yeah, because a lot of people, work because they need to make money, and they need to pay their bills, they need to have food, right, and they work toward a path of retirement. You know, I don't know if you call it luck or call it or call it or just it was a smart thing to do, but I made a decision back in 2013 to turn the proceeds I made from that sale of that company into Bitcoin and hold on to that. And that, ironically, out of everything of trying to be an entrepreneur, like, allowed me to be in a position at late 2015, early 2016 to be financially free, meaning that I wouldn't ever have to work again if I didn't want to. And I did face a period of time, in 2016, of not really knowing what to do with my life anymore. It's a weird place to be at. When you get to a point where you know that the financial side of things, you're okay, and that you won't have to worry about money ever again. You have, because before that you're figuring you have a job and that's what you're doing, right? But at that, when you hit that point, you kind of have to figure out, like, what do I want to do? Do I want to retire? Do I do I really want to just go on a beach and, like, hang out every day and this, like, be a beach, like, or do I want to go, like, these things, I had to figure out. So for me, it's a lot of passion that drives this, and I want to, for me, I think that blockchain is a way to build applications like that are far superior, more efficient, and create more value for people than centralized entities in a lot of ways. Like, and so, you can just give I'll give the example I do oftentimes just because it's easy to understand, right? So, like Uber, for example, you've got Uber, and you could easily create a decentralized Uber. And what's the difference? The difference is that, like, for me to get to my house to the airport on Uber, maybe it costs $100, and maybe the driver gets to keep 70 of those dollars, right? Uber takes 30. But if you create a decentralized version that just runs on protocol, then maybe for me to get to the airport is going to cost like $85, and the driver gets to keep 84. And then $1 goes to the people who are securing the network, or rewards, or whatever it is. And so in that example, I'm paying less. I'm getting the exact same service, but I'm getting to the airport cheaper, and the driver's making more money. So everybody wins in the situation. And if the service is exactly the same, they're going to choose it every time. So, like, this is just a better way. You're removing middlemen from the situation here. And so my goal is to build something that is used by the entire world, or at least a vast majority of the world, that improves their experience with whatever it is that I'm disrupting.
Wow, yeah, you totally a big disruptor. Something that I will bring in a minute, not quite yet, is like you guys disrupt the whole social crypto Twitter recently. So we will talk about it very soon. But to talk about influence, because you're a key opinion leader, you have so much influence across. Who would you say is your biggest influence? It has been in regards to your work ethic. Who is your biggest influence?
Elon Musk. Yeah, it would be Elon, because simply because, you know, a lot of people will say that what I'm doing might be too much, right? Because I have multiple companies that we're building right now, and they're all really different, and they're all really unique. However, they all kind of make a nice cohesive ecosystem, but they all have their own teams, and I think that he's a great example of somebody who can have multiple companies that do different things and do them well. And so I think that, like, I would say it's Elon, because he's demonstrating that it's possible for one human being to successfully operate and run multiple companies.
Yeah, definitely he's leading with example. I was thinking exactly that yesterday, because this week has been very challenging for everybody that's in crypto, and then we have to run several projects, several now. And I was thinking what Elon would think about this if he's running one of the biggest, the biggest electric car company in the world. Plus, he's trying to take us to Mars, and now he just acquired the biggest crypto social media platform. I was thinking, if Elon can do it, I can do it. So yeah, it's a very work ethic. So Kyle, we have a Web3 is a changing industry, yeah? Like, it's changing all the time. And everybody needs to be updated all the time and learning all the time. Like, if you sleep for 1 week and you don't come back, and everything is changed. Like, for people that went, let's say, to another planet and then come back after 10 days and they check what happened with crypto, they wouldn't believe it. So
Yeah.
how do you balance with other things that you do in your life, like spending time with your family and friends?
So my friends are my friends are my team. So when I because what I'm building is my life at the moment. This is everything that I do. It's like I don't have, there's no separation of a social life and a work life at this time. It's I do have a girlfriend, and on Sundays I do reserve like that day for her and I to spend quality time together. But other than that, when we do social events, there's always a purpose, and it's usually like so I will invite the team to come out on the boat, for example, and we'll go to island hopping or whatever, or something like that. We'll do team dinners, and I like, and that for me is important because, one, I like my team; they're great people, and two, it allows us to kind of bond outside of the work environment and kind of hang out, and they're all great people, and they really are my closest friends as well. So, for my family, well, they're in America and I'm in Thailand, and so my mom came in last March, and she spent a month here and was in heaven. She loved it, and she's considering maybe moving over here, which would be phenomenal. And then I just got confirmation from my dad that he's finally going to come here for his first time. Sorry, someone's calling me. So I just got confirmation from my dad that he's going to come, over the holidays.
Amazing. So Thailand.
Yeah.
So Thailand, for me, we have family also in Thailand. My wife has relative there. I love Thailand. Maybe one day I'll move next to you and we'll be neighbors. But yeah, balancing the life with work is very hard, but you're doing the right thing. You're bringing on board your family, your friends to work with you. And that's how you can proactive share the time from work and also make an impact, not only in the people in the life of your community, in the life of your clients, if not in the life of people that are amongst you. And talking about community, let's talk about your current community. What current projects are you working right now?
Yeah. So right now we're building. So of course we've got Paid Network, which is something that's already been launched, and that is trying to disrupt the kind of civil legal system. It's to give the world a platform to enter into agreements together, and have a way that the monetary value of that agreement can be stored in a decentralized escrow solution. And if the if the terms of those agreements are satisfied by both parties, money can be released from escrow, and they're all good, and they can leave each other feedback. And if there's, but if a dispute should arise, there's also now a way to arbitrate this in a decentralized fashion. And this is kind of like just think of a court case or court system, because the court systems are very inefficient and lawyers are super expensive. And usually when people sue people, it takes years and years and years and costs fortunes. And people usually can't, because we're in different countries with different companies, domicile places. And so that's something that oh my God, sorry, people call me. So that's something that I'm working on. And then we're building a layer 1 right now also, which is the whole goal is to really allow Web 2 to come to Web 3, building a nice experience, because I don't think that enough people are focusing on how to onboard, Web 2 to make it feel a lot less like blockchain. And so we're building like infrastructure so other developers can come build on our platform and have their end users have a really nice, easy, grandma-friendly experience. And then there's also Commonwealth, which I've been a part of the process from the very beginning. And this is really interesting too, because it's essentially a way that will dramatically impact them. It's like, after everything I've been through, this entire almost 11 years in the space, I've thought about what is an application that everybody would want to use, like that benefits everybody, like that killer app, that thing that really gets mass adoption. And so we have this project called Commonwealth. It's in stealth mode right now, but it's really, really, really important because it's very innovative, and it disrupts kind of it opens up access to everyday people, the opportunity that historically has only been reserved for the very rich or the very privileged or big venture capital firms. And what I mean by that is is that, for example, today the markets are down a lot, and but I can guarantee you that most retail investors have significant loss compared to VCs. Why? Because VCs have an opportunity to invest into projects at many multiples lower than the first opportunity the retail gets a chance to do. And so not only does that opportunity that they have, the VCs, increase their profit, but I think most importantly, and when you're talking about investing, it minimizes risk. Because let's say that Solana, for example, the earliest round in Solana that VCs got in at was 25 cents, and then what? Sorry.
That's the problem of having a Mac connected to your phone. It happened to me all the time as well.
Okay, so Solana, the first round was 25 cents, and then it was 4 cents. The first round in Solana was 4 cents, and then the latest round that private sale investors got into it was 25 cents. But the first recorded entry price that I can see on the charts for the retail to enter was 95 cents. So if you're a VC, you would have got in anywhere between 4 cents and 25 cents, but that's still multiples cheaper than the 95 cent entry price that the retail had an opportunity to come in at. And then it went all the way up, and as it went up, a lot of people bought it all the way up, and some people bought it at the top. I think it was like $260 or something like that. And today it's down like 90% or something. I don't know what exactly, but at today's price, I don't know what it is, but let's just what is it? 20, I don't know what it is. It's $25, $30, something like that. But the point is that most retail investors who have bought Solana now are down, right? But anyone who was allowed to enter into the private sale rounds are still up many multiples. And this is a huge difference, right? And so the point is that even though Solana is now at a very, very, very low price, and a lot of people who bought Solana on the open market are now down on their investment, VCs are all still up many. So that opportunity should be, in my opinion, open to more people. But there's things like the accredited investor kind of rules, where you have to be an accredited investor to invest in early stage projects, especially in the United States. Although they have passed like these crowdfunding laws, but so Commonwealth is really going to create a way for, I can't say too much about how it works, but essentially that's what it is. It's going to create a way for your everyday person to be able to get into these opportunities that have been vetted by some of the most brilliant minds in the space, that will be presenting opportunities to this DAO to be able to invest into. And I think that this will be something that will be the equivalent of like a Robinhood, but even better than Robinhood, because Robinhood was interesting in the fact that what Robinhood did is it made it made it easy for your everyday person to invest in the stock market. The retail was always allowed to invest in the stock market. They just didn't know how to do it. There was no easy platform to do it. They had to go to a broker, or they had to do something, whatever. Your average person didn't know how to do it. It wasn't like you could just download an app, connect to your bank, and like start trading or start buying stuff. Like that's what Robinhood did. And Commonwealth will have that same nice user experience, but Robinhood is only allowing secondary market trading, right? You're still not getting access to the deals that like Sequoia and A16Z and these guys are getting. And so Commonwealth wants to take that a step further, actually. And actually, we're not dealing with the secondary market at all. It's really about the early stage opportunities. And there's a value proposition that Commonwealth is creating in order to give value to the projects that it invests into, because the thing is, in venture capital, really, really good projects, like tier one projects with amazing teams, it's very like, if you can invest into these companies, it's like a money printer. You're going to make returns, and so you want to invest as much as you can, because it's going to go to the moon. And so these cap tables, the people who are allowed to invest are quite competitive. And so, you will often see sometimes like other VCs talking crap about each other, trying to, fight for room on the cap table, basically, of really good projects. And so as an investor, it's not good enough these days just to be able to throw money at a project. If it's a really good project, you're going to have to do a value add. And so Commonwealth has also cleverly thought of a way to make sure that there's a bunch of value being given to the project in which they're allowed to invest into on behalf of this DAO. So, and there's a bunch more creative things that they're doing, but I think this is like why I'm excited from the things that we're building about Commonwealth, is that, it is an app that I think that everybody will use, because everybody in crypto wants to make money, and everybody who's on the sidelines, who's is a little bit afraid or doesn't know where to start. And if they could just give their money to, some sort of fund that would probably be better at deploying that than they would, or certainly be guided, they would. But like the problem with the VCs, if you have money, like if you want to give Sequoia or Pantera or A16Z money, you want to give them your money to invest on your behalf, you have to be rich. Like the minimum buy-in to LP on a fund is like, $1 million or $2 million sometimes. And so it's just not possible for most people. And so I think that like a lot of people, if there was an opportunity for them to put in their money to be invested into early stage projects, they would do that. And that's kind of what Commonwealth is doing.
Amazing. And Kyle, yeah, because look, many people, when they join the diligence to see which tokens are going to be good. They start to join a bunch of Signal, Telegrams, groups. And even for people that have been long time in the market, it's not easy to get early access to, let's say, pre-sale tokens, etc. You can either get it if you have massive community, you're a key opinion leader, or if you have a VC, right? So what you're going to do for the whole community is going to be amazing, just giving the opportunity to an individual to invest in early stage project to support you when everything is get revealed. And yeah, because this is something that not only will be the guys that are in crypto, work from 9 to 5, or our families and friends will be able to do this in a good way. I have 3 questions for you, but I think so. This is going to be, I'm going to condense in one, right? So, look, we talk about education a lot. You educate a lot of people, but also at the same time, like you are doing a good job, there's also misinformation about other people that are not very good educating the audience, right? So there's so many new people in the space. Now they can be fearful about the current volatility, so with everything is going with the industry, the fall of FTX, this is the question. So how are you keeping your community motivated, and how you will keep educating them to get through this hard time? And I know the success over the Twitter space that you're having with our good friend Mario, that come all the way from Clubhouse. How you think is going to be the next step after this massive turbulence for your community, for your Twitter space, and how is that current projects?
Well, I think that I think that's really important. That like the thing is that on YouTube and with crypto influencers, a lot of them are fairly new to the space. And when I mean fairly new, I mean like maybe they came in 2017 or something like that, and they've never built a project in their life, and maybe they're just talking about so they really don't have the kind of skill sets and experience because blockchain and crypto and the token that you might be investing into, understanding the monetary and fiscal policy in which that token operates, like that stuff takes a long time to learn, and a lot of people don't even know that they need to go learn this stuff. And so I think that like when people are looking to people for advice, it's important to understand like how long. And I'm not saying that someone has to be in the space as long as I have to get it, to be a good educator, but people should understand what they're talking about and try to have some understanding of the background of the person in which like they're getting advice from, or that person should have maybe built something or done something that demonstrated their ability to be like people who just come on and just talk about something and just start talking about things with like without that experience, background, or knowledge. It's I'm also not saying that they're all wrong. I'm just saying that like you want to really be looking at the people who seem to have been doing things in the space for a long time, and keep demonstrating their ability to deliver and that are passionate about it. And so like, and you gave it, you said about the spaces, like, so I think the spaces is interesting, and it really just kind of took off because of the whole FTX thing and the fact that we've been covering that quite a bit. But in my opinion, like, and that is nice. It is something. It is informing people. It gives a place for people to come talk about things. But to make that really impactful and valuable, I think it's not just enough not just enough to talk about things. We need to keep using this momentum to actually do something with it, right? And so, what I'm talking to Mario about right now is like, okay, so how do we come up with something that like, how do we help our space evolve and mature so these kind of things, these FTX disasters and fiascos and like 3ACs and Lunas, like they happen less often and eventually, hopefully not at all in this space. What do we have to do to move forward? And I think that what we need to do, because we operate on a global level, right? Like you're in Dubai, I'm in Thailand, but I work with people from all over the world all the time. And what I keep screaming to everybody in crypto is that, now people are hurt. FTX happened. It was a horrible thing. But and now people are really like, not only are people looking to regulators to help regulate, but regulators are now really interested in regulating the space. But a question I often pose is like, how effective do you think that regulators will actually be when regulators can only regulate their jurisdictions, right? And so if you have somebody in Estonia, well, let's say a company, someone that's building in like, I don't know, but like somewhere, I don't know, like Zimbabwe or something like that, right? And they create some protocol or something like that, and they happen to onboard a bunch of users. Like, how are regulators going to actually? They cannot regulate that. You like, there's a lot of things. Regulators will be helpful to establish like some have precedents for centralized institutions that want to operate within their jurisdiction. And so if you want to interact and interface with centralized entities, and I think centralized entities are okay, and they make the user onboarding experience nice. I think our goal as an industry should be to develop more decentralized technologies, and I would like to see a world where we use less and less of these centralized services. But regulation can help to make sure that the centralized entities that the public is trusting are operating with best practices. But I think the most important thing, and what I'd like to try to do with this Twitter Spaces momentum that we have, is really to put together some sort of self-regulatory type of alliance or best practices and standards kind of organization, where we come together, we put our minds together, and we think about like, we get industry experts from the DeFi, from exchanges, from protocols, like whatever, and what are the best practices and what should be transparent, and how what can you do to make sure that, one, that you earn the trust of your users, enterprises, regulators, and retail users, and how do you gain the trust, and then also like, and then how do you stay secure and safe? So what are you doing with your assets, and how are you treating them, and how are you being transparent about them? And so this is what I would like to do. And I think that, like, since my entire thesis since the Bitcoin white paper has been adoption, I believe that we need to try to self-regulate. To me, that's the most important thing. We need, and by that I mean, but what I mean by self-regulating is you set industry standards that people can choose to comply with if they wish. But because they're standards, and because everybody recognizes them as best practices, if people don't follow these things, which they can do if they want to, if they choose not to do it, people should be skeptical about that product, right? That protocol, that thing. Because why aren't you using these things? This will make it so you demonstrate our ability to trust you. And so that's how I think that the best way that we can move forward.
Wow. Kyle, I don't know, probably people that are watching right now on Binance Live and YouTube and listening on Twitter as well, they probably don't understand. If they're new to the space, they probably understand like how much education you have given today, and how much solution are you bringing to the table, not only with product services, even though through the community building. So we're very happy that you were in the show. I have only two more questions to ask. It's nothing related to crypto, but by the way, coming for bringing the spaces. If you don't know what also Kyle has done with Mario Nafal, they have a Twitter space called the Roundtable, and they have the biggest Web3 leaders and Elon Musk in the show this week supporting the news. So thank you so much for that, Kyle, and to you and Mario and the whole team. And yeah, as I say, I have only two more questions. So what advice would you give to your younger self, or somewhere in the early days on the crypto journey? Because you're a proper crypto OG, more than 10 years, but if you were that Kyle when you joined more than 10 years ago, what advice would you give him, or somebody that you just come across Bitcoin on Google? And
well, I think that everybody wants to if you get bit by the bug and you want to jump in, everybody wants to start kind of like doing something. And so I think that I think that the most important thing is really to learn how, like to start, it's just to learn, right? And like, if you're interested in, if you're interested in investing into the space, things like dollar cost averaging are really beneficial. It takes the emotion side out of and trying to take any type of eliminates the need for skill to kind of enter into a market. But I would really suggest educating yourself a lot about the space before going to a lot of the more risk assets. I mean, any crypto, including Bitcoin, is a risk asset. But I would say that, like, from the entire crypto space, something like Bitcoin and Ethereum are probably the least. They are the least risky of all of them. And so if you're new, maybe start exploring there, and it's a good place to do it. But also learn the core tenets and principles of why crypto was brought here. Don't forget that. Always remember why we're here today. It was because Satoshi created, a protocol that allowed us to do decentralization. And so you need to understand what that means. And you need to understand that with great power comes great responsibility. And with that means that you need to learn how to safely custody. You need to learn how to be your own bank. And being your own bank is powerful. We've relied, far too much on third parties to store our wealth for us, to store our money, banks and things like that. And you're not supposed to be using exchanges as piggy banks. You should not be asking people to hold your money for you. We have really good tools like hardware wallets, Trezors, and ledgers to be able to store our own crypto for us and be responsible. So it's not hard to learn that. Give yourself an hour, watch some YouTube videos, whatever, and learn how learn what that means to set up. That should be the first step, is always making sure that you understand security. Because if you're going to enter the space, you need to know how to be responsible, and that you need to take responsibility too. Because guess what? If your money gets stolen or you are hacked or your exchange goes down, your money's on it, there's no one to blame but yourself, right? You cannot point fingers. And this industry is supposed to be built on the principles of personal responsibility. And so I think that people really need to learn about it. And then, I think that people also really need to understand why tokens exist, because I think that a lot of people really think that tokens are kind of like this thing that exists on top of Web2 centralized applications, but it's not, right? Like a token should exist in an application where the token is essential for that product to live. And so really learning about token economics are super important. And these are things that I would have done initially. I just can't, I can't say it enough and stress enough, like, to follow the fundamental principles in which this industry was created upon. It gets very distracting when you have guys like SBF coming out as like the poster boy darling to save the crypto space, and everyone's looking at, but he's a centralized entity, which the whole world has seen time and time again. When you give any one entity too much power and they become a single source of failure, they let you down more often than not. And so this is why decentralization is powerful. It's because there is no single source of failure. And so if we can operate under those ethos and understand that ideology, like, we'll be much better off. And if you take advantage of the tools that have been built for you, you'll also be in a better position. So I would say that, just be careful what you're doing. Don't get sucked into, get rich quick stuff. And also just learn the core tenets and principles of decentralization, blockchain, and crypto, and follow that path. That's the path that I'm taking. It's really, because if you focus on what the purpose, don't focus on the dollars, right? Don't focus on the dollars, because that will come. I promise you, if you focus on the good projects that are doing the right thing, using tokens for the right purpose, that part will come with time. It'll come organically. You don't need to focus on try to come and trade. Trading, you're going to lose money on. It's like, don't focus on the money aspect so much. Focus on, and if you do want to invest, go find out a project that, after you understand the core tenets and do your due diligence, like, look at a project that has good fundamentals, good team, and they understand crypto well themselves. They understand what their token's going to be used for. And then that's, follow people that are following the core tenets that Satoshi kind of created for us. The blockchain is here for. That's what I would say. It's like, I mean, I've always done that, but I think that's what a lot of people who are new to the space don't do.
Well, Kyle, that's a very good advice for somebody that's just getting started, or for yourself 11 years ago when you joined the crypto space. That's why you are the proper crypto G. I have great guests in this show, but most of them, they say two things: either go with intention and purpose and don't focus on the money. So that's the thing that get the pattern between all the crypto Gs. I have one more question, but before I ask, the last question is, we in crypto Gs were giving away to all our guests an NFT, yeah. So it is designed through artificial intelligence by this Colombian artist called Andre Cayanet. And your favorite animal, you say it was a dog, right? When you
Yeah,
signed the form.
for sure.
So what we're going to do when we get to 30 or 50 episodes, we're going to do a charity event in Dubai, and then with obviously the NFT that we give you, we're going to put it in an auction, and then the fund that we're going to raise is going to go for a charity of animal welfare. Just to let you know. So I will invite you very
Amazing.
soon, the next year, for the Crypto OGs Gala. See the NFT through Binance NFT, because we're in Binance Live, so we're going to do it that way. And the last question: where people can find you? What is your Instagram, Twitter handle, so people can
Yeah,
find you?
definitely. So if you go to my Twitter, which is at Kyle underscore CHASSE, in my bio, I've got a link tree, and that has all my links to everything that I'm working on, what I'm doing. My YouTube channel. So I've got my YouTube channel. My Twitter is probably very active there. And but yeah, if you just go to my Twitter at Kyle underscore Chasse, is where you can find all my links.
Okay, Cal, has been an honor to have you in Crypto G's. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed the evening in Thailand and Kapunka, Swarika. And thank you. You said learn a little bit of everything. And thank you,
Yeah.
everybody that watched live in the next episode of Crypto G's. Thank you so much.